So Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill, coming off his brutal knockout loss to Alex Pereira, he came out, made a recent statement, and he called out Jiri Prochazka. I think that's the fight every fan is calling for. But he said, "I dared to be great against adversity and against a great challenge and came up short at the highest level in the world. I answered the call twice on short notice to fight for a championship, the most we'll ever fight for. On to the next." Jiri Prochazka, let's finally make it happen. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. I mean, that's the fight everyone wants. That's the fight that should have happened when Jamahal Hill was champion. That's the fight we all thought would be next before Jamahal tore his Achilles tendon, which is so annoying. That both guys, and it's funny, both these guys are like currently my favorite in the division, and both guys beat Glover, got injured, vacated, come back, get knocked out by Poatan. I really wish it could have just went like it only happened to Jiri, but Hill stayed healthy, and then we saw Hill Prochazka like late last year at MSG. Would have been way better, and then Pereira could have just got and beat the winner. I would have liked it if it worked out in that order, but it is what it is. It worked out this way. It's going to happen with Jamal coming off a loss and Jiri coming off a win. But it makes sense, man. Yuri's like number 2 in the division. Jamal's number 1. I think this could happen like at the end of the year, and this could decide the next title challenger for the 205 belt against the winner of Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev. But I don't know, even though it's the fight to make and every fan wants it, I kind of don't want to see this fight right now. Like, if Jamal won, I'd be calling for it. But, like, he's coming off a brutal knockout loss to Alex Pereira. And Jiri Prochazka, by no means, is a safe fight for this guy to come back to. Like, Jiri is a risky comeback fight for Jamahal Hill. And yesterday, in another video, I was saying that I think Jiri would beat Jamahal Hill. And I'm going to get into that in this video, but I don't want to see it because it's like, I fear what happened to Reyes is going to happen to Jamahal Hill, where Reyes got knocked out by Jan, came back, and he fought, Jiri. He got mauled even worse than he did against Blachowicz. He didn't just get knocked out, he got brutalized first, then he got sent to the gulag with a spinning back elbow. And since then, I mean, he's never been the same since John Jones, but he's been off even worse since getting KO'd by that elbow by Jiri, because he went from being the guy who arguably beat John Jones to now being the guy who can't beat Ryan Spann. And I don't want that to happen to Jamahal Hill because I know how good Jamahal Hill is. I don't want Jamal to go from the guy who, you know, completely mopped the floor with Glover, who almost beat Jiri, by the way. Jiri struggled with Glover to share, went life and death with him. Jamahal Hill outclassed Glover, who the whole division struggled with for like a few years. Hill went out there and made it look easy. Like, he put on a world-class performance against a dangerous, tough guy like Glover. I don't want him to go from that to now going on this like insane downfall to where, okay, he loses to Alex, no shame in that, but then goes from that, Jiri, and now can't beat guys in the B leagues and is a completely irrelevant. I don't want him to end up like Reyes, but Yuri's that kind of guy who can do that to you, unfortunately. I mean, Volkan Oezdemir was able to bounce back after one more loss to Ankalaev. He's kind of hit or miss. He didn't completely end up like Dominic, but he didn't get completely mauled and violated like Dominic. But I just fear a guy like Jiri will like completely like beat Jamahal Hill up, bust him up with elbows, smash his face in. And I'm just scared he's going to give him the kind of beatdown that could be career-changing and then give him another knockout that will just put the nail in the coffin. But the matchup as a whole, I mean, I know like on paper Jamahal Hill should win. He's more technical with his boxing. Jiri does struggle with his defense, and he is very open to getting hit. I get that, and I know that Rakic was doing good early until, he just got overwhelmed in round 2. And, of course, Jamahal Hill is way tougher than Rakic. Rakic don't got the heart or the dog in him that Jamahal Hill does. So, yeah, he won't fold as easily. But I just think, okay, in terms of chin, a lot of people were saying, oh, Jamahal Hill has a great chin. But I've always said, what has he done to prove that he has this granite chin? I've never seen him go up against a knockout artist, tank those shots, and keep coming. I mean, he fought a washed Thiago. That doesn't count. But now, after getting knocked out by Alex Pereira, I think post-Pereira, this could have a hit on Jamahal Hill with his confidence, even his chin. Maybe if this fight would have happened like when Jamahal was coming off the Glover win and when he was the champion and didn't get starched and embarrassed by Pereira, honestly, maybe he would beat Jamahal Hill, or maybe he would beat Jiri, and maybe I'd be wrong for going for Jiri Prochazka. But I do think Prochazka could knock him out first and foremost. Jiri could get knocked out by Jamahal, but I think Jiri, he just has that kind of power. He can overwhelm you with his shots, with his pressure. We saw that with Rakic. Didn't matter how technical Rakic was. As soon as Jiri Prochazka went out there and just made it a dogfight and was able to get in and find his shots, Rakic could not withstand, and the fight was done. And I do feel like he will be able to hit Jamahal Hill. He will be able to connect on Jamahal Hill. And I do think Jamahal Hill could get hurt, and I think he could get knocked out by Prochazka. I really do. And just overall, I think that the unorthodox, awkward striking of Jiri would pose a lot of problems to Jamahal. I think in the striking, Jiri just has way more tools. He's better when it comes to throwing kicks. He's got elbows, and he just throws strikes from like such weird angles where it's like it's hard to see where his punches are coming from. That's another big part of why he's able to hurt guys. Whereas Jamahal, even though he can throw kicks too, he's mainly limited to a boxing heavy style when it comes to his striking. And what I noticed about Jiri Prochazka lately, like strikers that will give him issues, and the way to beat a guy like Jiri is you gotta have a lot of kicks, especially low kicks. Okay, we saw Rakic land a lot of leg kicks on Jiri. He was beating up that front leg. Same thing with Alex Pereira. Alex was punishing that front leg of Jiri Prochazka, knocking him off balance with that leg kick, that vintage Poetan leg kick, and him brutalizing those legs of Jiri. It forced Jiri to get sloppy. It kind of took away the awkwardness of his striking and just sort of forced him to walk forward in just a straight line and caused him to make a mistake by trying to be in a hurry to get the fight out of there because his legs were giving out. It caused him to get overzealous and walk into that left hook. That was my original prediction for Pereira Jiri, but I changed my mind because I'm biased for Jiri. And then, again, Rakic was beating him. He was landing a lot of punches, but it was mainly the low kicks. I feel like just boxing against Jiri isn't going to cut it. And I feel like if Pereira was a boxer in MMA and not a kickboxer known for his calf kicks, I don't think he would have beaten Jiri Prochazka. I'm not coping. I give Pereira credit. I just think that if Jiri did not have to worry about the calf kicks of Alex Pereira and Alex did not beat up that front leg and melt the calves of Jiri, I think Jiri would have been able to get in his proper striking flow. I think his pressure would have been a lot more effective. He would have been able to sit down on his punches way better. And I do think that he would have eventually gotten to Alex the way he got to Rakic, right? And if Rakic didn't have a leg kick heavy game himself, the fight might have been over in the first round. And Jamahal Hill, leg kicks are not really part of his game. And I think if Jiri does not have to worry about the low kicks and only has to worry about the hands, this may be a hot take. I think he will be okay. And I don't think Jamahal will be able to stifle the pressure of Jiri. He just has to hope that he can catch Jiri being wild and knock him out. But what if he doesn't knock Jiri Prochazka out? if Jiri walks him into the fence like he did to Rakic, like he was even doing to Alex Pereira, I really think Jamahal is going to be in a lot of trouble. I don't think Jamahal is as effective off the back foot as Alex Pereira, even though I used to always say Alex isn't effective off the back foot, and that's why I think Jiri beats him. I know Jamahal going backwards can land a dangerous left hook, and Jamahal can roll with punches. Don't get me wrong. I just think that if he gets walked into the fence like that, I don't think he'll have the same ability to counter Jiri with his back to the cage on the inside the way Alex Pereira did. I think he'll get overwhelmed. He'll be in a lot of trouble. And I think he'll get tagged by a lot of combinations of Prochazka. And I don't think, even if he tries to throw back with his back against the cage, I don't see him being as tight or as accurate as Poatan to drop Jiri Prochazka. And I think that sequence would result in a Jiri Prochazka KO win. So if this fight does happen, I do think that Jiri will knock out Jamahal Hill in round 2. Round 2 is usually the round where Jiri finishes, guys. That's where he could have finished Alex if Alex didn't catch him first. That's where he finished Volkan and Reyes and Rakic. That's where I do think he would beat Jamahal Hill. I think he would catch him against the fence with a big overhand right. Probably as Jamahal Hill might be leaning back and loading up for his own counter. I think that Jiri would catch him first. And again, like I said, on the inside, Jamahal is not as tight and as accurate as Poatan. And again, I do not think that he'll do the effective leg work to slow down or negate the movement and pressure of Jiri like Poatan did. So he's going to have a way harder time getting off good counter shots on Jiri Prochazka. I think round 1 might be like a slow start, a slow feeling out process. Maybe even an edge might go to Hill. But then I think round 2, I think Jiri is just going to start really turning up the heat. He's going to really start pushing the pace on Jamahal Hill. And from there, I just think, yeah, he would be able to get him out of there. I could be wrong. I could definitely see Jamahal finishing Prochazka. But I just got to go with Jiri to win this fight. I just can't help but feel like he would win. And it would be sad. I do not want to see Hill lose 2 in a row. That's why I don't want to see this fight, because I do think Jamahal will, in fact, lose. And he needs a win, because if he loses 2 in a row, that's just not going to be good for him, man. I feel like he's going to just fall into obscurity, and he needs a big win over another former champion just to get retribution and to get respect from the fans, because fans have been disrespecting him. He didn't get his fair shake for beating Glover. Then he lost to Poatan. So now he has to beat Jiri in order for fans to actually take him seriously. He has to get 2 former champs on his resume for fans to not just think he's some joke or he's never that good. You know what I mean? He's got to get that win. But I never root for Jiri. I like both guys. I never root against Jiri. I like both guys, so this fight's going to be hard for me. Hill needs this win. I don't think he wins, but we'll see. But at the end of the day, I think the fans win. But let me know what you guys think in the comments.